What's up, y'all? I'd like to think I've learned a lot about Australia in the past almost 2 years. In reality, there's just so much to learn. You could spend your whole life trying to learn about a single country and miss some things, right? So we're going to see what this is about. Here's what no one tells you about Australia. This is from a channel called Welcome To. Be linked in the description down below so you can check them out. Here we go.
Do you have any tips for anyone coming here that, they might not find out online?
Just be very, don't be shy or anything. We're a very loud and outspoken country. A lot of people like to drink a lot and like to swear a lot, so hopefully you don't get offended easily and everyone will get along great with you.
What I've noticed overseas compared to here is...
I feel like that's similar to most of America. Very friendly, very kind of outspoken. Everyone loves to say Americans are loud. I don't know about that part. But yeah, I think your average Aussie and an average American could vibe pretty easily. I think that's kind of cool.
Is that when you bump someone, they apologize?
So you bump someone, they apologize to you?
That's common
and
here.
You apologize as well, no matter whose fault it is. I feel like people are more likely to apologize over here.
Okay. So just get ready to say sorry a lot, is what you're saying.
Not really, but it's nicer, I guess, that way. You just apologize just in case.
Yeah, I'm from Italy.
Even if you go downtown Chicago, you can even bump cars and just be like, oh, sorry, and drive away. I'm kidding. Not really.
And I liked a lot people of Australia because they are very happy and friendly and wholesome people, very generous.
So that surprised you when you got here?
Yeah. It's different in Italy.
Yeah, I have to 100% agree with that. Aussies are super creative, generous, just quite amazing.
People aren't as nice?
Not with tourists, no.
Okay.
They are more shy. And close, yeah.
So one thing that I found strange here is that I've seen a lot of Aussie people walking barefoot, and it's really strange for me because I'm not used to see this type of thing in Brazil. So yeah, it was the one thing that I found it a little bit strange and different, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's a really damn expensive country.
And the accent is pretty funny and really hard to understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are some tips? Is there any tips for anyone?
The accent is awesome. I'll say that again, and I know there's different accents within Australia, but yeah. I never miss a chance to say, like, the Aussie accent is my favorite out of all the English-speaking world. It's like, you guys speak really cool, man.
Store.
It's very expensive here for us Germans.
Yeah.
Compared to Germany,
if you go to Australia, you should maybe notice that, take a lot of money with you.
How much more expensive than Germany?
Well, much more expensive, like triple the price probably.
Triple?
Yeah.
Wow. No kidding.
I'm going to Germany.
1.5. Let's just imagine, guys, like, okay, for example, cigarettes or alcohol is like 3 to 4 times the price. For example, in Germany, for like one vodka, you pay like $7, like 7 Australian dollars, and here it's like 40.
Oh!
So it's 6 to 7 times the price. But
that was how it was. My only, sadly, my only international, really only experience going to a different country, of course, was Canada. And that was the biggest difference I noticed. Not so much like a heavy difference on food or groceries and stuff, but the alcohol. At least where I was at, it was like literally 5 or 6 times the price for alcohol than it was for the equivalent alcohol here in the U.S. It's absolutely crazy. Now, maybe Australia isn't quite that bad compared to Canada, but yeah, I would assume alcohol and things like that are way more expensive in Australia. Things like that, I feel like a lot of kind of little specific day-to-day things in the U.S. are pretty reasonable, like pretty cheap, honestly, compared to a lot of countries.
when it comes to like normal groceries you need every day, like vegetables or something, it's still cheaper. It's still more expensive, but not that much more expensive.
Oh, the cold in winter. You know, I'm from a warm climate, so by the time it's now cold in winter, I'm like shivering. The cold is different.
I think that will surprise people because most people find that it's hot when they come over here.
Yeah, because they are coming from Europe, where it's minus 20, minus 19, and they come here and they're like, guys, but I'm coming from where it's almost every year and it's 35, 25, 30. So by coming here, it gets cold.
Yeah, so that one's a shocker because when I first started learning, I'll be honest, my, American ignorance, I knew, just basic things about Australia, and I never knew that really it got like super cold. I always thought of it as very hot, like the whole thing, the whole country. But of course, we know, especially this year, you guys have said it's one of the coldest years like ever on record in a lot of places. It is shocking. I think people underestimate that it can be really hot there, or it might be really cold as well.
I guess think about where you're coming from and compare it to Australia's weather.
Yes, that's it.
So I'm from Ireland originally.
Cool.
And I guess one thing that people should look into is if you're going to do farm work for your second year, it takes a lot longer than 88 days.
Can you explain what that means for somebody who doesn't understand what you're talking about?
So to get a second year extension on your visa, you have to do 88 days of regional work, but it's not like you're going to get 88 days in a row. You have to do like 88 actual work days, and with rain, with different things, that could take 5 or 6 months. So be prepared for hostel life a little bit longer than you thought.
So you're here in your second year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And have you done all that farm work?
Yep. 6 months later.
Wow. How did you find it? What did you have to do?
It was tough, but I was picking sweet potatoes in Bundaberg. And
Whoa, okay.
I guess I was lucky because I had someone with me. If you're by yourself, very, very tough. But we got through it. It's well worth it. It's a great country to live in, but just be prepared.
So it's worth it to extend your visa for
Absolutely.
anyone watching?
100%.
So I come from France, and the Australian accent is very difficult to understand. I understand more the French people than the Australian people, but it's okay. If you speak slowly, it's okay. I can understand.
One can find the...
And it's funny how everyone interprets like voices, accents, all these things. I would almost say, to me, obviously she was speaking English, but her accent was a little thick for me. Like I understood what she said, but I feel like it was a little harder to understand than the average Aussie I've heard. Now, of course, there are some Aussie sentences, or if they go heavy on the slang, then they can be hard to understand. I guess I kind of get that. If they really want to mess with you, they can be hard to understand. But the accent itself, I don't think is too difficult.
You see, when you come to Australia, it doesn't matter that you know how to speak English, that you speak good English. They have their own way to talk. And even if you're pronouncing correctly, even if you're saying things that are correct English, they wouldn't understand. They do not comprehend. And it's just because they have a specific way to talk. So, and you will never get to learn that anywhere else. You have to come, you have to listen them to talk and try to talk like them, or you have to talk very slowly and ask them to, pay attention to you. In that way, they will understand you. Otherwise, it will be just, what? Sorry, excuse me?
That's funny, yeah. Obviously, a common theme here, one thing you can draw from this is, like like I knew going in, like Aussie English is its own thing. It's different. It's different than English spoken in a lot of other places, including here in America. Now, I always say I think we have a decent amount of slang here in America. Certain things we say, certain ways we say them, and of course we have our big range of accents within our country here as well. But I really think Australia still stands out, possibly more than anywhere else, just based on the accent combined with the unbelievable amount of slang and funny phrases. And it's funny how most people notice that, even if they're visiting. Obviously they're going to notice right away. It's very unique, and something Aussies are just known for. It's kind of cool and funny. But that's about it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. What would be in your book for what no one tells you about Australia? That I would love to hear what you have to say. These were pretty spot on. Definitely one of the predictable ones would have been the Aussie English, the Aussie slang. I don't know if that really counts as what no one tells you. I feel like, at least from my perspective, that's one of the first things that stand out. One of the first things I feel like people do warn about Australia is they talk different down there. And, the expense, that one's kind of hard to gauge. I just feel like I'd have to experience that myself to really have an impact on how expensive it really is. I do feel like, just from my knowledge of it, and from, learning certain things, I feel like day-to-day life would be more expensive there. But that's just very hard to measure because, there's tons of different metrics there. And I know like wages are different and all these different things. So even so, I'm going to go off on a limb here and I'm going to say the U.S. is overall cheaper. That's my 2 cents. That's about it, guys. Throw a like on there if you enjoyed it. Subscribe. We're almost at 100K. Be part of this amazing community we have here if you aren't already. And that being said, y'all, my name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, we'll catch you later.